Today's webinar is hosted by Shipway, the logistics startup of the year 2022. Shipway is an automation company with a fast and efficient logistics, automated fulfillment solutions, and tool for communicating with customers in real time. Shipway provides single platform solutions for D2Cs to reduce their customer queries and enhance customer experience. So today, Shipway is a family of more than 12K online sellers, helping reach their customers of approximately 15 crore plus customer base worldwide, and we are still counting. So I am Ritika Pal from Shipway, and I will be your host today. Before introducing our guest, let us just let more people join in. Okay. So today we have Yash Gangwal as our guest, and I have introduced Shipway to you all already. That Shipway is the logistics startup of the year, and we have been providing logistics, fast and efficient logistics, automated fulfillment solutions. And Shipway is a provider as a single platform solution for D2Cs, and help D2Cs reduce their customer queries and enhance their customer experience. Currently, we have running an offer on our Shipway Logistics, wherein you can get INR 1,000 in your wallet on your first registrations. So whoever, like, you can register for the offer in the chat box. The link is available in the chat box. I think a lot of people have joined in. Um, so I welcome you all again. And let me welcome our guest and introduce you to our guest. So, small introduction for him. He's a dreamer, a believer, a hustler, a change maker, and a game changer. This young entrepreneur started his brand in the most unconventional niche and became the pioneer in street fashion. We have all seen him making a mark on Shark Tank India as well. So his brand, Urban Monkey, caters to the needs of Indian youth, especially the millennials and Gen Zs. So the brand was started in year 2014 with the aim of bringing skateboarding, music, and street fashion together. In the very less time, Urban Monkey has received tremendous acceptance and recognition from the underground community in India and street fashion enthusiasts. So the journey has just begun. So let us now all welcome with our warm hearts the CEO and founder of Urban Monkey, Yash Gangwal.
Hi guys, can you guys hear and see me?
We cannot see you, Yash, yet.
Okay. Yeah, still not able to see me?
No, not yet.
I can see myself. Oh, you can see me.
Yes.
All right, great. Thanks, Ritika. Thanks for that introduction. Good afternoon, everyone, for joining us on a Wednesday. Please let me know if any point I'm not audible, and I'll just pause at that point and carry on once I am.
Okay. You are completely audible, and I think the audience attendees can tell us if Yash is audible or not. Yes. Yes. Uh, Okay. Also, before starting the session, I would like to tell you all that you can drop in your questions in Q&A session, whichever, whatever questions you have from the Yash. We are glad to answer all your questions. We'll be taking up questions in the middle of the session as well, and at the end of the session. So few of the questions will be taken up at the end of the session, and of course, we'll try to take up most of the question in the middle of the session also. Okay.
Great.
I think we already have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, I think some of
So
these questions I will
we'll
be
start,
answering
we'll start the
as and when
session
the questions
first.
come. Hello.
Yes. So
Yeah,
okay, so let's start. So first of all, Yash, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. A little bit under the weather, but fine.
It's nice to have you on our platform, and we were looking forward to the being in conversation with you. I think most of the people here are very excited to hear from you, your brand story. So, before further ado, I think we should start with the questions. The
Yeah.
first question would be just about your brand. How did you start your brand? The inspiration behind Urban Monkey, and tell us a little bit about your about Urban Monkey.
Yeah. So, I've been skating since I was 12 years old. And, skateboarding essentially has a lot of things within the culture, with hip hop, the kind of way we dress, the kind of style we have. And when I moved to India at the age of 24, and I joined a group on Facebook called Skateboarding in Mumbai, I realized that most of the stuff everybody was wearing was either fake or it was gotten from abroad, but it was not locally sourced, and there was no local brands or international brand presence in India catering to that niche. And from what I remembered in Hong Kong and in Australia, the market for such a culture is not niche at all. It's actually quite big. I would call it a mass niche. And, it really kind of bothered me and excited me to see that the opportunity was wide open. Even when we started Urban Monkey before, not many people were selling caps and skateboards. There was definitely not a well-established brand in the scene. So that's kind of how it came to me that India is the right place uh, for me to do this.
Okay. So when you started Urban Monkey, did you even imagine it to become such a big brand and loved brand, I would say, at this point of time?
When I started Urban Monkey, my imaginations were to make $1 billion, but it's much harder than it seems. When I started, I obviously thought it was going to be a huge brand, but I think right from the beginning, as soon as we launched and how long it took me to launch and actually get it going, I realized that this is not an easy task at all. It's in fact an uphill battle. Like you have to really work your way through the kinks to kind of learn from your mistakes and then get to the position where we are, where I feel our vision gets clearer every year as we pass the year and grow Urban Monkey. Yeah.
Yes. Um, so, of course, when you started the brand, I would like to know what were the first products that you designed, and how did you find the supplier for it? Because, getting an idea is an easy thing, but then when you go to the implementation part, you face most of the struggles there. So, how did you tackle with that?
Yeah, the first thing was to have a hit list of products that I thought, India was lacking in, and figuring out, okay, you know what, I like shoes, India needs shoes, or I like caps, India need caps. So I started from there, and in my trips in India and China, I visited, I would say, like at least 50 to 60 factories on ground, visited them, spoke with this team, understood how it all worked, and that's when I kind of zeroed down on three products. And I actually started with shoes, power banks, and bags, out of which I don't sell any of them anymore. Uh, uh, so it really is important for you to choose the right product. Our first product at Urban Monkey Shoes was the absolute wrong product to sell in 2013 when e-commerce was just starting and people were still not sure of what kind of sizes they wear, because all brands have different kind of sizing. People were still buying online. They were not sure if the product would even come. Some people just window shopping. So it was really the wrong time, and I lost a lot of money selling shoes. But the important thing here is, doesn't matter how you start, you have to be agile and pivot according to the market. And what we decided was to sell non-sized items after we realized sizing is a huge issue in shoes. And that's what we did for, I think, from 2014 to 17, where we sold no sized goods at all on our website and understood the other aspects of the business.
Okay, so I think I got a question in Q&A from Karan Gade.
Yep.
He asked how to build a team because of the
Right.
streetwear community and normal people cannot understand the vision. So
Yep.
how to find people with same vision?
Yeah, I think
Nice
finding
question.
people is really the hardest thing for any business. At the end of the day, to get your team aligned with your vision, you will never find everybody and anybody with the same vision as you. You have to find people passionate about the industry or an aspect of your business, and then get them aligned to your vision or the company's vision by continuously reminding them what the vision is, explaining them the importance of the vision, and really educating your team as to what you're doing and why you're doing.
Good. So yes.
Yeah,
So again, I think the next question from you would be, when you're starting a brand, the biggest struggle or the biggest challenge comes in the part of awareness, spreading the awareness. You have a very
right.
new brand, you're starting it up. So how would you tell people that you are existing in the market? And to get those first 1,000 orders,
Yep.
tell us about that. Like, what challenges did you face and how you dealt with it?
Yeah. In terms of the first 1,000 orders, I think the best way to do that is spreading the word within your own circle, friends and family. And going to the next step, although we don't sell on marketplaces now, I think it is very important for new brands who have just started fresh to be in places where most eyes are. So if you are being seen in multiple marketplaces and platforms, there will be a lot of brand recognition and awareness being generated through that. But in saying that, you should never underestimate the power of your own website. Yeah.
Good. So I think someone also asked, when are you entering the brick and mortar space?
So honestly, I feel that we have a lot of room to grow online, just in terms of still fine tuning our products, our categories. So I think brick and mortar will take some time. Maybe in another 2 years, we'll start opening some stores.
Okay. Um, we talked about the marketing part. Also,
Right.
the categories we are working in. You are currently working in the clothing, eyewear, and wallet categories. So, what
Right.
more categories you want to bring in into your portfolio or add it in your portfolio?
Yeah, so we are adding a couple of categories in the next 2 years. We are entering the watch category, as everybody has heard on Shark Tank. We are getting into shoes by the end of this year or next year again. And yes, shoes again, even though I burned my hand hard in the first 2 years of business, I do think because of what the sneaker community is doing in India, for the level of shoes. Everybody, even on Instagram now, writes their Instagram name and then UK7, UK8, UK9. Everybody knows their size. Everybody is aware of good quality and good trends. So that's really how we kind of decide. If I think about it, I don't think there'd be a better time to launch shoes than now. So shoes, watches, and a lot
Yeah,
more clothing
yeah.
is
So
coming.
Okay, we also got query
Okay.
from a person in our team that when are you bringing back your shoes? So
So
I
those
think he
shoes
must have
we did,
got his answer.
yeah. So the shoes that we sold first were a long time ago. We'll be completely redesigning them this time. I think it will be
Okay,
at least
so
December or next year, Jan. Yeah.
okay, yeah. So for the marketing, like it's very important. So aware after awareness, to spread awareness, actually, marketing is very important.
Right.
How are you dealing with your, who is handling your marketing part, and how are you dealing with the marketing? And building community is also very important. And we have all seen that you have a very loyal customer community with you, and people
Yep.
actually swear by your brand. It's such a
Yep.
strong community. So how
Yep.
have you built such a huge community for yourself?
Yeah. So I think the community building requires two very essential things. A, support to the community. By supporting the community, it could be artists or events or digital events. And B, having the right product market fit for that community at the right quality for the community. Understand, no matter how good of a community you try to build, if your product is not good, that community will never stick. So it really, the both of them need to be built together. And I think community building, it's all about boots on the ground, doing offline and online activations, working with lots of people within the community. For example, we do a lot of BMX, skateboarding, hip hop events. Sponsor these things, make sure that you get your name associated with them. Yeah. And in terms of who
Okay.
handles my social media, that's my wife. She handles all the social media. That's why it's so good. When I used to do it, it was really, really bad.
Okay, that's nice. I have a similar question I was going to ask you about, and there is a question in the chat box
Okay.
as well. So somebody has asked for a brand that's just starting up online. What's the minimum spends one should start with for Google and Facebook ads? And now, since we have seen that Facebook has increased its cost of ads up to 3x, how are you tackling with it? And what the suggestions would you like to give to a new brand?
Yeah, I think for every new brand starting, you should remove the words cash burn out of your head and worry about unit economics. Yeah, I cannot tell you what is the minimum spend that you should do, but you should break down the maths of your product, figure out how much margin can you afford as marketing, and make sure you're not spending more per sale than the amount than you actually can afford. Because at that point, you're going to start losing money. For us, we spend anywhere between 10 to 15% of our MRP on marketing as customer acquisition. For you, maybe you can afford 30 or 40. Some people can even afford 70, 80%. So it really depends business to business, but you got to understand that every order you make, every order that you get, you should make sure the unit economics is on your side. Yeah, I think that
Okay.
hopefully that answers the
Another
question.
question. I hope, I think Kapil Sharma asked this question. Kapil, you can tell us if your question has been answered or not.
Yeah,
The next question would be, you just mentioned that 20% orders, but month by month is growing for you. So
yeah,
when your orders are growing at such a faster pace, of course, your operations have to be in line with it, and logistics part. So you have to, keep it all in line. And how do you
yeah.
manage it? How do you manage your logistics and operations to manage such number of orders?
Yeah. So we've been using a platform called Shopify, which is basically a e-commerce platform for sellers that enables sellers to sell products on their own website. Now, the benefit of this platform is that there's thousands of different third-party applications you can use to optimize and automate your store. And honestly, most of our operations is automated thanks to Shipway. And even our customer dashboard, everything has been set up in such a way using third-party tools, which is their expertise. And we as a fashion brand don't need to worry about building out tools and applications and different automations. We just plug and play these different applications to kind of powerhouse our store.
Okay. Um, Also, okay, let me just take up a few questions
Sure.
from the Q&A section. So somebody has asked, Karan Gade has asked, other than Urban Monkey, your favorite streetwear brand?
Yeah. Honestly, I am a big fan of Supreme. And it is very idealistic. I mean, the whole world is following the drop strategy. Supreme is the king of drop strategy. So that is really who I idealize, and I really hope to be able to, do stuff as good as them one day. Uh,
Another question is asked, have you ever felt of giving up at the time on your journey? And the same person has asked the another question as well, the ways and means to get the funding. So the
yeah,
question was like, just hold
yeah,
on a second, I missed the question. Yes. So
yeah,
in how to get the raise how to raise funds
yeah,
initially, and working on the capital expenses, so how to
yeah,
manage capital expenses. So these can you answer these questions for us?
yeah. So in terms of raising funds, I only I borrowed some money from my dad just once, and we used that to bootstrap the business. But in terms of working capital expense, honestly, I managed to run the whole business by myself very poorly for the first 4 years without any other extra team members. So working capital was not really an issue. We just had to slack it out and work crazy hours, but just get stuff done. That was the wrong decision. Ever since I've been able to build a team, and uh, they handle more of the they everybody is kind of segregated into their expertise, is really when we started seeing growth. So raising funds, I did not do it. I've not done it yet, so I'm not too sure how much advice I can give you. Working capital, I really think it is possible as long as you're not losing money on every order that you get online. As long as your unit of economics works and you have positive cash flow, you can manage to build a team for sure. And the third one, sorry, the first one was giving up. I did feel like giving up quite a few times uh, after the shoes. I don't know. At the end of the whole shoe game, I was left with about 1,500 pairs of shoes, and I sold them for I think 150 rupees a shoe in a lot. And I'm like, I'm not gonna put my effort there anymore. I'm just gonna get rid of it. And from that stock lot of sale is how I bought my first lot of caps. So there was no turning back from there.
Another question is asked by Paras Kulkarni, and he asks, how do you deal with inventory management? How do you
Yep.
deal with the dead stock?
Yep. So right now, because we are doing a lot of controlled buying and we're not mass producing in thousands of colors per style, so our dead stock issue has been relatively low. We do manage to sell out most of our products in 120 days. And the reason we are able to do that, which is how you keep your dead stock low, is to make sure you're designing and making products for your community. And you're not just ignoring uh, what people tell you. Like a lot of the times we made a wallet and now we're on wallet 4.0. We have taken comments from the community and upgraded, and upgraded. And each time we have upgraded our product, our dead stock has become lower and lower and lower. So I think it's all about having a great product.
Yes. So you mentioned Shark Tank, and sorry,
Yep.
on Shark Tank, you mentioned that you are not on a marketplace. So
Yep.
I just wanted to ask, don't you think it's a opportunity lost for you?
Yeah. So for us specifically, I don't think it is. And I'll take you through Urban Monkey's experience. so you can understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. When we were on marketplaces, there was a lack of experience for our customers. There was a lack of differentiation between a 200 rupee cap and a 1600 rupee cap, right? You're not going to be able to tell just by looking at photos. The unit economics didn't make sense. After spending on marketing and commissions, you barely took back any money home to grow your own business. And the last and most important thing was instability in sales. None of the sales were in our control. And, if Amazon has a shopping weekend, the sales go boom. If they don't want to put any money in marketing, the sales go down. So it was really, for us, we just realized that it made more sense to just put all our energies into something we can control. And in retrospect, when we quit Amazon, Flipkart, and all the marketplaces, they were giving us sales of maybe like 7-8 lakh rupees a day. This was 4 years ago, and that's what we're doing on our website on a daily basis right now. So we were only able to grow and be at a stage we are right now is because we didn't have the distractions of how to grow sales on Facebook or Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra. We just worried about how to grow sales on Urban Monkey. So I think that was a big pivot and a very key moment at Urban Monkey.
Okay. So I found a very interesting question, and I think we have a fan in the chat box. So Ansh Narula has written, "Hi Yash, how are you?"
Yeah.
His question is, do you think social media optimization and SEO, search engine
Yep.
optimization, really going to help the brand initially, or one should focus on the ad first? And he also says that you are his inspiration and Urban Monkey rocks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ansh. Really appreciate it. I think search engine optimization is something that you should not ignore. When you're running ads on Facebook, you're literally just throwing your ads in front of tens of thousands of people who may or may not want your product. When you do search engine optimization, the only people who are going to see your page and go to it are the people who actually are interested in buying that product. It is one of the most important and the most ignored part of e-commerce just because it is the most boring part of e-commerce. So my answer is you have to do SEO. Internal social media optimization, there is no escaping social media. You only have two storefronts. One is your e-commerce website and one is your social media handles. Both of them need to be optimized and always on top of their game.
Uh, Another question is, you are anchoring your brand in a culture of street fashion and addressing
Yep.
all the apparel categories within the
Yep.
genre, right? So this is the question. Uh, so he
So
actually, I think he wants to ask
you're
that
anchoring your
you are
brand.
gonna be, you're gonna stay in this particular category only.
Yes, so I don't think we are in the street fashion category. I would say we're in the underground street community. Okay, so the underground street community, for those of you who don't know, is a mixture of hundreds of subcultures, be it BMX, skateboarding, hip hop, dance, and maybe all of them don't listen to the same music or all of them don't do a lot of things similarly, but there is one thing that ties them together, which is fashion, and we want to leverage that point and connect everybody to grow that underground community to be the biggest one in the world. Yeah.
Yes, and another question is from Ezzy.
That's
I
okay. You can
cannot
ask me the
pronounce the
question.
name, but I'll ask
Yeah.
the question.
Easy test
Yeah,
for
so the question
MKMI.
is how to, yes, MKMI, yes. How do you set up your brand apart from players like Super Cakes, Veg Non-Veg, Super Vic?
So, some of these brands do have their own clothing merchandise now, but I do feel we have our own brand identity. Our products are always really colorful, really vibrant. Everybody has their own vibe, and we are very clear with Urban Monkey's brand identity. We are very clear with it, and we keep on evolving it. So I think the only way to set yourself apart from other brands is by the kind of content you put out, the kind of designs you put out, and the kind of messaging and presence you have on social media, and what you kind of show to the crowd about what you stand for. I hope that makes sense.
So the next question that anonymous attendee has asked, and I was going to ask the same question. Like question was quite similar to it. So how about COD? You mentioned it to me earlier on the call that you've cut CODs.
Yeah,
And the question in the Q&A is also about RTOs. I think it's quite
right.
related to each other. How do
Yes,
you manage
yes.
RTDs and
So
RTOs? And
RTO, for
for
those you don't know, is return to origin. It's when you ship a product to a customer and they don't get it. It's cash on delivery most of the time, and they don't receive it at the door, and it comes back to you. And just for it to come back to you, you're going to spend shipping money. Your customer service is going to try and track that customer, speak with the shipping. It's a whole mess. The way that we tackled RTO, NDRs, and these unwanted orders was just shutting off cash on delivery altogether, right? So, if you kind of do the maths, and at least for us, because our products are not priced with such big margins, the minute that we send a product to somebody and it comes back to us, we have spent twice in shipping, once in customer acquisition cost, which is about 25% of our top line, which leaves us no room for profit. The next time we sell the product, we're probably going to lose about 10% of that MRP as a net cost. So it really, the best way to tackle it, and I would really suggest this to everybody, is if you shut off cash on delivery, more than 80% of your customer queries and NDRs and RTOs, everything will be solved on its own.
okay. Um, Another question for me, for you two would be, you know, with so many orders, you said that you must get customer support, so messages about multiple support channels,
Yep.
and how do you manage your, customers and give them the service as good as Amazon, and Amazon is giving to its customers.
Yeah. So see, first thing is to be very clear with your customers or what they're gonna get before they're gonna get. Make sure your customer service hours is very clearly mentioned everywhere. And the second thing that we did, which really helped us, is we use a software called Delight Chat, which basically gets us email, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, all messages get combined into one place and it's connected with our Shopify store. So as people are emailing or WhatsApping or even doing any sort of messaging, we'll be able to see their order history, their conversations on different channels, and really put it all under one single dashboard. So once we did that, we also were able to monitor and improve the timeline in which we answer and respond to questions. So really, to answer your question, make it simple, is just use as many tools as you can to monitor and improve how you communicate with your customers.
Okay. Another question for you would be, okay. So I think I will start taking up few questions from the
Sure,
Q&A now.
sure.
Somebody has asked major challenges while branding.
Yeah, so I think in terms of branding, the biggest challenge is your own patience. Branding is something that, like you might not see the rewards instantly. It's a compound interest sort of a thing. With branding, it is something that you should never not do, and you should never not stop. You should never stop. So really, the biggest challenge in branding would be figuring out how you're going to measure what kind of impact your branding has. And, not all metrics need to be related to money. You can simply just see what effect your branding is having on your subscriber list or your Instagram followers or How many people are coming to your store? X, Y. Yeah, does that answer your question, Aman?
I think,
Yeah, let us know
you
if it
know,
doesn't, and I'll try to elaborate more.
yes. So Aman Agarwal asked this question. Aman Agarwal can tell us if the question is answered or not.
Yeah.
Prateek Sharma has asked, "What is drip?"
What is drip? Like I said, drip is just like a drip. Okay, I'll just tell you the origin of drip came from diamond rings and everything. It used to be called drip. Like, look at this drip dripping. But now drip is turned into a pop culture thing in US where what you're wearing, what you're feeling, everything is drip. Like it's a kind of a vibe. I don't know how to explain drip. I just did this on Shark Tank and that's it.
I think that's what the question was asked. Karan Gade also asked, "How do you find suppliers for low MOQs?"
Yeah, I think that is a question that a lot of people struggle with. Is all the good suppliers are kind of telling me to do high MOQ, high MOQ. How am I going to find a supplier that will do low MOQ and is good? I think that is the hardest part. What I do is really annoy a factory with all my might if I like them. Now I'll just keep emailing them, calling them, and emailing them until I get an answer and figure out how we can start working. And once you start working with a supplier and they understand your passion, your ability, they will support you with MOQs. So really don't take no for an answer and just try to get your first order placed with a factory that you think will help you scale in the future.
Another question for you is, what percentage of revenue you put for marketing?
See, it all depends category to category. Like I said, the unit of economics need to work out. So you need to figure out how much money you can spend on marketing for each category to profitably scale your brand, get an order, save some money aside, and grow that category. So it really, for me, it goes anywhere between 10 to 30%, depends on the category.
Okay. Um, Another question, I think we have getting so many questions. It's
So
nice. So how do you set apart your brand from players like Super? Okay, so I think we have
we've already
already
done that.
answered this question. Would you recommend Shipway as a service for my apparel brand?
Yeah, so see, I've been using Shipway for a long time. Like I've been working with I use Easy Slips, I use Shipway, I've used multiple of their softwares. In fact, their team also helped me create an application, custom application, way back in the day called Marcus Paid. Because back in the day on cash on delivery, you still do have to manually mark that item as paid. So I would really recommend them. They really know what they're doing. And as soon as you come up with a problem and you tell them, I've thought of a better solution and this can be done in this way, they kind of act on it immediately.
That's so kind of you. For your kind words. I think the question has been answered. Okay, so yeah, so another question is from Paras Kulkarni.
Yep.
He asked, "What is the biggest challenge in the caps market right now?"
Yeah. So
Nice question.
in India, even we still have not tackled closed back caps, which again is a size thing. People have just started wearing caps in India, and I think to put multiple sizes of caps will turn out to be a very expensive education that we're gonna do to the mass of India, because honestly, not many people know the size of their cap in India. So I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. And manufacturing of caps in India still has a long way to go for them to really be of good quality. So these are the two biggest challenges I think for caption and
Another question is from Divya Karnani. She
yeah.
asked how long it took Urban Monkey to turn profitable. Nice
Yeah.
question, Divya.
So I'll answer this in two parts because we broke even I think in about like 5 years, but we turned cash flow positive, which is the more important thing to always look out for. Profit and revenue does not run a business. Everybody cash flow rules the business, right? The more cash flow you can have, the more profitable you can be. So we turned profitable in about 5 years of business, but we turned cash flow positive on the fourth year of business. On the third, once we got rid of the shoes and started focusing on some categories, is when immediately we could see that we are making more money than we're burning.
Somebody is also asked, what is your customer retention percentage? I think it's a very important question for any new startup or any business, I think, out
Yeah.
there.
So even in that question, I would say as soon as we launch a new product, about 30 to 40% of our sales are from old customers. Okay, when we're not launching any products and our collection is just there, I think our customer retention rate would be repeat customer rate would be about 25 to 30%.
So I think in a gist, I think I would say it's very important to have to retain your customers rather just spending
Yes.
money and marketing on the new customers, because
Yes.
of course you're doing that, but retention will help you
Yes.
get the repeat orders and more orders
100%. You're
with less
spending money
marketing
to you're
cost.
spending money to acquire each customer. So
Yes.
it's money gone if they're not coming back to you.
Yes, yes. So yeah. So good question. Another question is from Gaurang, and he
Hmm.
asked, "Hello Yash, hope you are in good health and wealth. My question
Thanks,
for you
Gaurav.
is, does versatility matters in the long run, or we can stay stable by just sticking to one thing,
Yeah, I think this has to
mainly
do with your
business?"
vision. This really has to do with your vision. There is nothing wrong with making a lens card or a watch card or whatever. But in my case, my vision was to be the next Supreme or the next Adidas or the next Sean John, the next Fubu. Those are that's the kind of vision that we had. In that vision, there was no room for a singular product. So if your vision is to be the best shirt guy, then by all means you can definitely survive, grow, and scale a killer business just by selling shirts.
Yeah. And Rahul asked, what should a good team consist of?
Passion. Yeah, I think passion and experience and a good mix of both of them takes you a long way. And one very important thing is a team should be continuously learning and enhancing their skills, especially with e-commerce. It's evolving faster than you can actually cope up. The minute you have set up a bunch of things, a new something else has come up and now you have to set that up. So it's really being agile, being passionate, and always focusing on learning and enhancing your skills. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Another question for you is WooCommerce or Shopify, if
I
you
have
had to
never
choose.
used WooCommerce, so I could not. But I would just suggest you to go look at the third-party applications available in WooCommerce and Shopify, because I'm pretty sure the other parts are pretty much the same. So wherever you have the most support, the most customer service is probably the app that you should choose, the software provider you should choose.
Yeah. So for the startups or for new brands, most of the queries or most of the challenges come into the part of logistics. So we have another question in the Q&A, and the person asked, shipping aggregators like ShipRocket, etc., or direct tie-ups with the shipping companies? What would you prefer, or what do you advise?
Yeah, so I've done all right. I started Urban Monkey, and it was direct to the company, and I was only doing like 5-10 orders a day, and it was more of a headache using their old school methods than actually just tying up with the aggregator. So at the beginning, I did tie up with the aggregator. I did use ShipRocket for a bit. This was a while back, and at that time, I didn't get good customer service. But I would suggest, while you don't have the money or cash flow to build a team, and you're struggling with NDRs and customer service, whatever, find an aggregator that will help you solve all those issues. Okay, and if that works for you, great. For us, after we moved on from that part, we did tie up directly with the courier companies to negotiate better rates, have a more direct stock, because a lot of the times with the aggregators, you're playing Chinese whispers between yourself, the aggregator, and the shipper. So it really, at each stage of your business, it's okay to switch. It's very okay to be with the aggregator, and when you're big enough, go direct. And if it gets too much to handle, go back to the aggregator and let them take the load of your customer service team. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, are you sourcing from India to promote Made in India,
Yeah, so I don't source
the
only
Made in
from
India
India.
campaign?
I source from everywhere. I'm very agnostic. I'm really feel my first job as a brand is to give the best product at the best price while sourcing from a very ethical factory. And that's kind of where I stem it at. If I can source that same product in India at the same quality, I'll do it from India. But if I can't do it here, I will do it from China, Korea, Taiwan, anywhere it may be. So I hope that answers your question. I'm sourcing products to get the best products as I want them to be.
Another question is quite related to the previous question,
Yep.
and the person says, if you're still sourcing,
Yep.
do you still source the products? If yes, do you have any plans to set up your own production unit in near future?
No, I don't think we will ever start. We do source, yes. I don't think we'll do a manufacturing setup. I'm very clear that our skills lie in ideation, product development, design, bringing in new categories, and that's really where our passion and core competency is. And I think if I had to spend time trying to figure out how to run a factory, I'd go crazy. And it's a whole different game. And I think for me personally, I don't see Urban Monkey going that route. I think we like to partner up with people who love manufacturing while we love designing and selling. Yeah.
Okay. Paris Kulkarni has asked, what is the usual order size to suppliers per design to manufacturers?
It really depends, we we work with everything from scratch. So even when we make a t-shirt, we get our own yarn, we spin it to exactly the specs that we wanted. So our MOQs are high. They're close to 1,000 t-shirts per color per design. But really, you can still do all of these things in half that quantity. It's really about going out and finding the right suppliers and partners to support you in your vision. And I myself have pitched to all my factories, and they know about Urban Monkey. I keep sending them stuff about what we are doing, how we are growing. That's the kind of relationship you need to build with your factories.
Okay. So yes, the another question is from Aman Agarwal. He
Yeah.
asked, are your products mainly sourced from China? I think in a way we have already answered this question.
No, I
But
would,
if you
if
want
you
to
want, I can tell you it's almost 50-50 now. So even our sunglasses, we have partnered up with a really good factory in India for sunglasses. About 50% of them will be made in India, and 100% of our clothing is made in India. except for a jacket. Sorry. Yeah.
Kapil Sharma has asked, from your past experience, something that you will never repeat, a mistake that you'll never repeat. Nice question.
Do not make data driven decisions. A lot of the times, we're so passionate and we're so enthusiastic about our own vision and our own ideas that we ignore the data that is right in front of us, and we go with what our decision says, whereas data is always going to be right. So I think my most important decision, I have made bad decisions on what quantities to buy, which styles to buy, based on hunches, where after I've made those decisions, I went back on the data. I'm like, the data obviously says I shouldn't have made those decisions. So that is something that will save you a lot of money if you just sit back and look at the numbers and make the right decision.
Okay. Somebody has asked your top five favorite sneakers.
I'll just go with Dunks as my number one, just because I'm a skateboarder and that's what we started skating with. I love Vans and I love New Balances. Yeah. I'm not that big of a. I love Kanye West, but I'm not that big of a Yeezy fan.
Okay. Ansh Narula's question is, can you tell me about packaging? Is it should be expensive or minimalistic? Do you think free goodies or stickers really make the difference?
Uh, Anything free always makes the difference. It's always good to get something that you didn't expect. It brings joy to people. So you should. Packaging is really about the brand experience that you want to give to your customer. So even the most minimal packaging can have the best experience if you design it well. Uh, so yeah.
Okay. Your thoughts about conversion of COD orders to prepaid orders. We have vaguely, discussed this. If you want to answer, you
Okay,
can
so
answer this
I
question.
think I think what they're trying to say is my customer acquisition cost did go up when I started going for prepaid orders, almost by 30 to 40% on but if you think about it, 30 to 40% of the fake orders I was getting also went away. So at the end, it was pretty much balanced on the weighing scale. And in terms of another plus point, now Google, Facebook, all of the data points and pixels are fine tuned to only find people who buy online because they've realized that we don't have cash on delivery.
Okay. Paris Kulkarni's question is, what's the equation of selling caps for, say, above 500 rupees when the customer has to choose your brand instead of big players like Nike, Puma, etc.? Since I believe India is the price-oriented market. So,
Yeah, see, we never make a product to fit a price. Like, if I want to sell my product at 500 rupees, I'm going to have to remove the sweatband, change the acrylic quality, change. Do you know what I mean? To make your product fit into a price bracket means you're going to cut corners to make sure the product reaches. And at the end of the day, it's your customer who's going to feel like, for 500 rupees, I got a okay product versus for 1200 rupees, I got one of the best caps there is. So for us, like, we just don't look at it in that way.
okay. Before we move on to other questions, I think we have a link for registration in the chat box.
Okay.
If you want to avail our offers, you can always click on the link in the registration and register yourself, and our team will reach you accordingly. Um, okay, so the next question is, are you already shipping globally? So nice question.
Yes, we are. It's a big headache. Honestly, we have decided to only ship to countries where, the paperwork is less because each shipping company decides to give us new paperwork. Like recently, we got asked for a drop ball test for a t-shirt. Like, How can you drop a t-shirt? You know what? So we are shipping internationally. I think there is still a long way to go for India to international shipping for e-commerce to be completely efficient and effective.
So sorry. We have so many questions already in the Q&A, but we are running out of time.
Yep.
So we'll be taking up two, three more questions and for 5 more minutes. But before that, I have a question from Yash. Uh, we'll take up the questions, but in just to wind it all up, can you give us some points and tips to these new age D2Cs? Two, 3 points if they can work on.
Yeah. So I'll just okay. Some of the I'd say the three of the most important things that any new brand needs to do is A, figure out product quality. There is no point selling anything if the product is not up to par. You should in fact reject it at the factory and not even let it enter your warehouse, because it's gonna ruin your reputation and waste your time. Second is have a very clear brand identity, right? The only thing that you can differentiate yourself with other brands in the market is your brand identity. So make sure you're very clear about it. It's okay to change it, but it's very important to be clear about your brand identity. You can keep changing it again and again and tweaking it, but be absolutely clear about it. And the third one would be having the right team. It's very the right people will help your company grow, and the bad people will help your company go down. You really need to make sure all your energy and time utilized is around the right people who are aligned with your vision. And the only way they're going to be aligned with your vision is if you share your vision with your team on a regular basis. So those are my three do's: product quality, brand identity, and vision. Team and vision. Yeah. The three
Uh,
don'ts, I would say, would be: don't play the price game, like I just mentioned earlier. The minute you try to make your product fit in a price bracket, you're going to cut corners. Do not compromise on design and aesthetics. If something does not look good, it's just not going to sell no matter how hard you try. And do not give up. I did give up two, three times. My dad and my family always said that it's much better than before, much better than before. And today, I don't know what I'd be doing if I gave up. So don't give up.
Another, I think, before we wrap it up, can you say how your association have been with Shipway? A few words on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Shipway, I'm using Shipway for a couple of things. Back in the day, I was using easy slips to print the labels, Shipway to manage all the NDRs, speak with Blue Dart, do the connections. We literally managed to uh, track, monitor, and create actions on all our delivery related queries under one panel, whether we're using delivery, Blue Dart, or this or that. For us, it was all in one place, Shipway, and we didn't have to go and figure out how to set it all up. The Shipway team is always there to help you set it up. So again, it was one less headache for us to worry about and let them do what they're great at. Yeah. I
Thanks.
think I can answer some of these questions since people have asked them really quickly. I'll just quickly
Yeah,
go
yeah.
through them since we have a minute. If I were to start
Yes.
from Paris, if I were to start Urban Monkey in the most minimalistic way, I would just start with one product. Again, I started with three or four back then, and I would have started with way more product research than I actually did when I started selling shoes. Because I'm sure if I did some research, I would have never entered the shoe game. Uh, Anonymous person, fan of your Nahi to Anam Gupta for selling caps. Thank you. I had to stick with my vision. At the end of the day, money is nothing unless the investor shares your vision. Have you met any of your LTV customers in person? Yes, we have, definitely. Some of our biggest LTV, highest spending customers actually come to our office slash community hub slash store to come buy the goods. So yes. And in terms of the name Urban Monkey, Urban Monkey is very parkoury. It's very skateboardy, like monkeys just jumping around, doing crazy stuff, but urbanly in the jungle. So that's how we came out with it. My sister designed the logo. Um, Harsh, how shipping ready it is return shipments usually take 7 to 8 days. Right. So, return when a customer returns a product these days, you're right. Shipping is taking almost 15 days for those products to come back to your warehouse, for you to re-upload it, refund the customer after doing the QC. So Blue Dart and a couple of other companies have started QC on spot before actually picking up the products. They will check the product from the customer, looking at your guideline, saying that okay, the box is there, the label is there. You get the product, give it to your courier partner, and you can refund your customer right away, so that that external communication doesn't go past that one day. Yeah, I think how sustainable is Urban Monkey? Yeah, so when you say sustainable, you mean environmentally friendly. We are absolutely vegan brand. We don't use any leather products, and most of the times we try to use dyes that are natural. Last question. How much investment? I really think that question has no answer. You can start a clothing brand with 10,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, or 1 crore. It really depends on how good your execution is, because execution is everything. Awesome.
I think
I try my
it
best to
was a
answer.
it was an amazing session, and we we are glad that we could answer all the questions in time. And
Yep.
Yash, thank you so much for coming on our platform. And I think everybody just enjoyed the session. They get all the answers they were looking for. And you have been a great speaker for us. And
Yep.
thank you so much once again for coming to
Thank
Shipway.
you, everyone. Thank you, Ritika.